All right, late. That's on me. 3 minutes late. I dilly-dallied getting out of bed this morning. I was up, slept really well. I may not even have gotten up in the middle of the night to pee, which is that too much information? I don't think that was the case. Yeah. If I did, I got up one time, which is so strange. Certainly turned over enough, but I did not get up to go to the bathroom. All right, it is the Schultzycast episode 28, if I'm counting right. Not a great pen day. How do you get late to a job fair? Only I end up late to a job fair. Ridiculous. Cajuns didn't play last night, either softball or baseball. LSU, we'll talk about them. Knicks choke. I'm not even watching the whole game. I actually had a lot of the game on. It was on in the background. That was a choke of all chokes. And Passover is over. And we celebrated with Elise's and Dairy Queen because, of course. All right, LSU with a easy win over easy win over Grambling. They blow out the Tigers. Was it 26-2, 26-3? A big 13-run inning. And Jay Johnson obviously said it was a must win because, I mean, they would have, plummeted in the let me see. I don't have it here. They would have plummeted in the War Nolan. I think they went down anyways. Let's see here. LSU. 26-2 final book. Let's see here. Yeah. They take it off the website, which I'd rather leave it up. Let's see here. Brown and White had big days, driving in a total of 9 runs, 4 for Brown, 5 for White. Pitching was very good. Moffitt got touched up for a couple of runs, but that was it. Everybody else put up a bunch of zeros. 2 in the first, 7 in the second for LSU, and then the big 13-run fourth inning, and obviously a run rule for LSU. But I think they did fall a couple of spots because they played Grambling. Let's check that out. They did fall 2 spots to 44. And so now, almost see this coming. Now you have Jay Johnson complaining about how tough the SEC is. All right. And so you look at the comparative strength of schedules, and here's the difference between the Cajuns and LSU. All right. As we've heard from Matt Daggs, right? Like, I'm not even sure if he was specifically talking to LSU at the time, but generally speaking, SEC, right? Like, it wasn't even it wasn't HCU. It was the team before. Like, they could not lose that game. They fortunately lost to HCU. And it was somebody else he was talking about, though. Southeastern, maybe. That maybe it was either HCU. But you can't. It's tough to bounce back from those games, right? Cajuns are down 2 this week. They haven't played. They're down to 53. LSU is 44. Here's the difference between the Cajuns and LSU, okay? The Cajuns, because they played LSU, as it turns out, have a 121 out-of-conference schedule. Our strength of schedule is 121, all right, out of conference. LSU is 158. Oops. But the difference is LSU's in-conference schedule, non-conference RPI is 29. Let me see if we got the whole strength of schedule here. Let's see what it says. I bet the strength of schedule is high because they still got some games to go. It says non-conference schedules 1 for them in Alabama coming up. The Cajuns have Troy, Georgia Southern, and finish up with South Alabama. Not bad for the Sun Belt, but it's not A&M in Alabama. But you already have Jay Johnson complaining that we got 4 or 5 teams that are going to be in. We having Wi-Fi issues this morning? I don't know what is up. Oh, I'm on the bad Wi-Fi channel. Not great. All right. Hopefully it lasts. Already complaining that, we would be, and it's such a stupid comparison, we would be number one. We would be, at the top of the conference if we were playing in other conferences. Well, you wouldn't have the players if you were playing in other conferences. That's like saying, well, the Sun Belt couldn't compete with the SEC. Well, if the Cajuns were in the SEC, they'd have better facilities, although the facilities are pretty good. They would have better players, right? Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz ain't going to LSU if they're in the AAC or the ACC or the Big Ten. That's not going to happen. They went to LSU because they're in the SEC and they're LSU. They would be different if they were in another conference. Well, we would be, 4 or 5 teams. Let's see here. He's saying 4 or 5 teams are going to be in Omaha. 4 or 5 teams. Let's find that out. So A&M is number 1. They're pretty good. Is Arkansas? Arkansas doesn't have a whole lot of bats. They got great pitching, but not great hitting. And did the A&M coach call them out? Let's find that out here in a second. Let's see the SEC. Okay. So we have Kentucky 1. Has Kentucky ever been to Omaha? Kentucky's got an RPI of 3. A&M's got an RPI of 1, and Arkansas's got an RPI of 2. So do those 3 teams make it? Tennessee is 8. They made it last year, lost to LSU. Georgia is 9. No. If anybody wants to make a conversation about it, right? Georgia is sitting there overall 32-12, but 10-11 in the SEC. That's where the conversation is. LSU is sitting at 7-14. They lost to Missouri and Auburn, although they did win those series. So, he's already pleading his case in case they lose the series to A&M and Alabama. That's what. Don't kid yourself, because they're sitting at 44. The wins against A&M, a win against A&M would go a long way, but if they lose 2 out of 3, now that's at home. Not sure it helps you as much as it would have helped, say, Troy last week at Coastal Carolina, moving up 25 spots. And then they're going to Alabama, which could help them more because where do we say Alabama is? Alabama has an RPI of 14 right now. And so if you go to Tuscaloosa and take 2 out of 3, you'll be in good shape. All right, so basically, still, it's the same thing as the Cajuns for LSU. If you win, you're in. All right. If somehow LSU takes 2 out of 3 from A&M, 2 out of 3 from Bama, and 2 out of 3 from Ole Miss, you're in. Jay Johnson is guarding against if that doesn't happen. That's what he's guarding against. When he says we would be the number 1 team, in every other conference, he said he wanted to go 23-3 in out-of-conference games. Let's see what they are. They are 22-3. All right. One of those losses was to Southern. They lost to Stony Brook too soon. And Xavier. All right. Xavier's got a pretty good RPI, as it turns out, although they are 500. Their RPI is sitting at 34. All right. But they just haven't played a great non-conference schedule. I don't know if that's the year or whatever the case is. But they just haven't played one. Right. In this case, it's odd. LSU's RPI is getting hurt a little bit because the Cajuns lost to HCU. If the Cajuns hadn't lost to HCU, right, the Cajuns wouldn't be at 53. They'd probably be right there at 40 or maybe even in the 30s. And that would help out, as it turns out, LSU, oddly enough. Let me see here. Let's see here. Neutral site. So neutral, see, it could be if the Cajuns hadn't lost to HCU, LSU would have another quadrant 1 win. How many quadrant 1 wins does LSU have? They're 4-10 in quadrant 1 wins. So that would be, again, that may even include Xavier. Xavier's top 40. Does that count top 40? Or is that that may not be it. But Mississippi State, I think, is 26. That's 1 win. Florida is 1 win. That's 18. They didn't beat Arkansas, and they have one against. They do have one against Vanderbilt, so maybe that's it. So, but again, Jay Johnson already pleading his case. How hard the SEC is, and how good LSU would be if they were playing in another conference, which is not. I don't think that's comparable because it's like apples and anchors. They have nothing to do with each other. Well, if LSU was in that conference, well, they wouldn't have the players that they had. So, but he's already pleading his case. He is already pleading his case. And again, just go out and win. Just beat A&M 2 out of 3, and you won't have to plead your case. Right there, what do we say, 44? They're 44, right? They take 2 out of 3 from A&M, they'll probably be a top 35 team. Boom, you're good to go, right? Go beat Alabama, and you'll be a top 30 team. No problem. Take 2 out of 3 or sweep Ole Miss, your buddy Mike Bianco, and I mean, you could be on the outside of looking. You could be just on the outside of hosting. Probably not, but you become a top 20 team. They're going to do everything they can to help out LSU. I have no doubt about that. Again, if they are in the bubble and the Cajuns on the bubble, they'll give the bubble to LSU. But Jay Johnson already pleading his case that that LSU's their record isn't great because of their hard SEC schedule, as if they didn't know that coming in, right? Now, win some games. I mean, how about not get swept by Tennessee? How about win one of those games? Not great. Not great. But again, the opportunity is there. Whereas the Cajuns, they'll be okay if they take 2 out of 3. Obviously, if they take 2 out of 3, I think they're all set. But if they take 1 of 3 against Troy, I'd like to take 2 out of 3 against Georgia Southern. So that's 6-6. No, that's not right. 3-3. Sorry. And then go 2-1 against South Alabama. What does that get you? 5-4. Let's see. What would they be? 5-4 in the conference would be 22-8. Let's see what we have predicted results now. The conference, they have an overall record of 39-17 predicted results. Conference record is 22-8. RPI is 55. See, I think that's where the Cajuns are in huge trouble, if that's the case. Let's see what they haven't predicted. Well, here's the problem. They have them losing out to Troy, getting swept by Troy. Lose 1 to Georgia Southern and sweep South Alabama. Boy, that would be disappointing. And so then you would have to, then I don't know if you're winning. If you're losing all 3 to Troy, then you may not win the Sun Belt. And that would be an issue. That would be where it's disappointing, right? Said it from when that schedule came out. I said it. You're scheduling, and he's even said it. We need to win 40 games, and then win 39. You'd have to do some damage in the Sun Belt Conference tournament, right? In which that's what I was hoping to avoid. Try to do it differently than basketball, where you're not relying on that weekend. It is a tough deal. You never know who's going to tweak something, an ankle, a shoulder, an elbow. Not great. This is a big weekend for the Cajuns. And again, they need to set the tone Friday night, which they have not as of late, right? They got hammered by Coastal. They got fortunate against Southern Miss, right? And video. Against Coastal, they got fortunate against Coastal, right? I mean, DeBarge comes through. I don't know if you want to call that fortunate, but and Herman pitched well after giving up a couple of runs, but the bats were not there. The bats came around on Sunday. So hopefully that carries over. And hopefully they're refreshed a little bit. Did see Jose Torres yesterday getting his haircut. Same place I get mine. And I asked him if he's tired. Not that's part of the job. I go, yeah, but boy, playing every game. I'd say day game after night game, but so guys like Torres, guys like Taylor and DeBarge have played every game. That almost. I mean, Taylor. I think Taylor and DeBarge have played almost every game, every inning of every game. Certainly DeBarge has. Torres and Clay Wargo were, back and forth to begin with, and they've both done really well offensively. But I just, it'd be nice to get a day off in there. Anyway, so we'll see what the Cajuns do against Troy. They do need to, it'd be nice to take 2 out of 3. They need to set the tone. Friday, it hasn't been that way for a couple of weeks, right? So, I mean, Langevin didn't even pitch Friday against Coastal. Saved the game on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. Set the tone on Friday, get that win, and then the pressure's on Troy. Did say Matt Deggs did say I haven't posted any of that, have I? I got to do that. Matt Deggs did say that the rotation is going to be the same. So Fluno's starting on Sunday. So it'll be Herman, Morgan, and Fluno. Although I switched Wi-Fis. Let's see. We're back, I think. Oh, all right. All right. Passover is over, so I can eat bread again and drink if I wanted to. I went in. I was thinking about not doing it because I put on a couple of pounds, but I went to go get Elise's pepperoni and meatball, of course. Pizza, that was very good. Topped it off with a Dairy Queen Blizzard, which was a large. Probably didn't need that. I will say, now I wanted to do this. I probably should have done this all at 4:30. I'm not sure how much the traffic would have been different. Maybe a little bit easier. But I live right by the corner bar. And I legitimately think it took me a half an hour. I went to Dairy Queen first. And it took me a half an hour to go get the Dairy Queen. There's no line for that. Maybe one. And Elise's. I ordered it at, I'd say 5. Oh, do I have my phone? I don't have my phone. Where's my phone? I ordered it, I thought, at 5:35 or something like that. Or 5:30. And she said 15, 20 minutes. So I'll go get the sundae and come back and pick up the pizza. Well, traffic is bad on Johnson at 5:30. But it is all dissipated by 6. Maybe I should have done it later. It's all dissipated by 6. It's all everyone's trying to make a left on Camellia. Coming north, if you will. I'm not sure if that's the specific direction, but coming back, there is no traffic. I mean, I'm pretty sure when I made a U-turn on Johnson coming back from Dairy Queen, I don't think I hit a light until making a left at Elise's. That's crazy. Like, it's one of those things you don't realize until you're like, all those lights were green. So Passover is over. We'll probably weigh in tomorrow, but my jacket did fit. I went to the lead a job fair, and again, I'm the only one who shows up late. I had something to do in the morning, but for some reason I thought it went till 3:00, and really everyone was gone by noon. They was like, "Thanks for coming." My former company, Town Square, wasn't even there. Usually they're a big sponsor of it, and they weren't there. Delta Media had left. I did get about 15 pens and a little candy. So not as successful as has been in the past, but oh well. All right, wrapping things up a little bit here. Boy, again, I watched the Knicks last night, and really watching it with my nephew. We FaceTimed each other, and I mean, the Knicks were going to win. So I don't know if we could do math. My understanding is that there would be no math, but the Sixers had given up 19 points to the Knicks in the first 11:28. No, I'm sorry, 11:32 of the fourth quarter. That was like a point and a half. Almost two, I guess. Because they led 96-90 with 30 seconds left. And somehow the Sixers scored 7 points in the last 28 seconds of the game. Mitchell Robinson is following a shooter. Oops. And Brunson misses one of 2 free throws. Oops. They go to overtime, and the Knicks choked. And I don't know if Brunson is – I haven't watched the Knicks enough to know this, if Brunson's playing hero ball, but it feels like he's playing hero ball. He did hit a big 3, and they got Joel Embiid committed a flagrant 1. So I think that was he missed those 1 of 2 free throws. And then he hit a 3, so they tied the game up. But then he's looking to hit another 3, and he throws it away. Just take the shot. But he's playing hero ball because you can see kind of when they, try to make a move and then back it out. You're like, he's going to shoot it one way or another. He's either going to pump fake it and, step back 3 or try to go to the hoop. And the Knicks choke. We'll see if that ends well for the Knicks or not. But that was a bad ball game. And then the Bucks ended up winning last night too. So again, I'm not all that interested. The Pelicans, we'll see what the Pelicans do. They, I think David Griffin is satisfied with what he's seen in terms of he knows what he has. So satisfied may not be the right word, but actually it might be. And he's going to break it up. All right. So we'll see what they can get for Brandon Ingram. They need to shake things up because, again, all these teams have passed him. Denver did it a couple of years ago. Oklahoma City just did it. San Antonio is going to do it. Right. Memphis is going to be better. We'll see what Golden State is and what the Lakers are next year. So the West will not get any easier. I still think you need to get Zion into better shape. He played 70 games. That's a lot, except he missed the last couple. I mean, 70 games is pretty good, to be honest with you. For what he has been, 70 games is not bad. Disappointing ending, though. Disappointing ending. I don't think there's anything going on today. What else happened sports-wise? Oh, this is tragic news. I'm not sure if we talked about this or not yesterday. Jack Murphy at App State did pass away. I think we did talk about this yesterday. So that's offensive lineman. Again, our condolences go out to Sean Clark and the Mountaineers. That's awful. Oh, here's some Sunbelt news. JMU hired a new AD, and apparently they need some upgrades to their stadium. Meeting space is apparently the first one. All right, so what the Cajuns did at least 6 years ago, right? The facilities were done. Well, were the facilities done in 17? Facilities may have been done in 17. Hudspeth may have had them for 2 years. And that was supposed to be a game changer for recruiting. I don't think it has been. Baseball stadium was supposed to be a game changer for recruiting. I don't think it has been. And now they're building a new stadium, football-wise. And again, we've talked about this, and I could be wrong. I would have thought that, when you're on a 16-game winning streak and you've won 21 of 22, that you would draw a bunch. But I guess they think the crowds were good. I know what the announced attendance was over 10,000. There was nobody there on a Sunday. Again, well, for Southern Miss, well, Dave, we never draw on a Sunday. All right, well, why'd you build a new stadium then? What's the point of that? All right. I missed the Friday and Saturday games. Again, I'm going to bet probably less than 7,000 in-house. All right. Probably closer to 6 in-house for Friday, Saturday. All right. And so my main concern is with the Cajun Stadium is that the administration is seeing this and terrified that they're going to draw the same 10 to 14,000 for football, after 25 that they have been for the last handful of years. And so JMU has this issue where I guess they do need to build some out. They have a stadium that's about 25,000. I would build it out to 30. I guess there is a waiting list for tickets. I'd keep people on the waiting list. I would have that demand. This stadium, the baseball stadium, would have been better if they built it to where the Cajun Stadium, it was 4,500. I don't know, the plans changed. All right, Tony changed the plans constantly. And they built it to host regionals and super regionals, which they have not since they've opened up the new stadium. It would have been better to have a bigger demand, right? We need to make it needs, even if it's perception, because if you're announcing 4,000 and your stadium holds 4,500, now your stadium, if you bring it in 25 to 3, looks much better than in a 6,000 seat stadium. All right. So I'm sure people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I saw the drone coverage of Kyle DeBarge's home run and I saw empty seats. That's a 2-0 game in the 8th inning at like 8:30 at night on a gorgeous evening in Lafayette, Louisiana. I saw a bunch of empty seats. That's what I saw. All right. Saturday, I was told that pregame ceremony for the 2014 team. Well, that was done well before the game. Then I heard on the radio, Jay Walker said no, because the Cajuns have a late arriving crowd. Although on Saturday, I'm not sure why it's late arriving. Fridays, I understand, but I don't know why we late arriving on a Saturday. But nonetheless, he goes, they waited until 2:00 to do it. Well, the crowd didn't look very good at 2:00. I'll tell you that. The crowd on Saturday at 2:00, when those guys were on this field, looked like a Sunday crowd. Now, again, I wasn't there on Saturday, so I don't know what the crowd looked like at all. But my point is that if you're JMU, don't overbuild, is what it is. Keep that demand. Take the heat for more demand than empty seats. If you overbuild, it's going to look bad. And now I'm concerned, now that I think about it, if the cameras for the Cajuns move back, if the press box moves back to the other side of the stadium, and they're showing an empty stadium again, that's bad. That's the one thing South has done. I'm not sure how often South has filled up their stadium, but you know what they do? They do a great job South Alabama does a tremendous job of filling up that student section, which is down low and between the 20 and the 20. And so it looks full when it's on TV, although the money people are on the other side. Now, the top of South Alabama stadium, if you will, the upper deck, if you want to call that, on the visiting side does not get filled up. But you know what? You don't see that on TV. So the perception is that it's filled. Whereas the Cajuns, probably have a higher stadium, more rows total. But the student section is all, right next to the band, and it goes up all the rows. And so it doesn't look very good. So you probably have, if you're lucky, 1,000 people on that side. And then it's all in 2 rows, so it looks bad. If you spread them all out, it would look better. So we'll see how the camera looks. Again, perception means a lot. And if you're showing an empty stadium, which Cajuns do on TV football-wise, when everybody else, right, that if you flip the camera and you saw 15,000 people there, it would look great. I don't care what is below the camera. If you flip the camera and showed a full stadium, it would look fantastic. But we don't get to see that. So that's the point about JMU. If you need a meeting space, I'm not sure what more the Cajuns need. South Alabama does. It'd be interesting to see what the Cajuns fall practice is. I'm not sure how much I went to that last year because of my show. But I know South Alabama, right? They have a nice new stadium. They definitely need an athletic building, an athletic facility, because they're still going in kiddie pools. Now, you may be doing that here because maybe not enough room to get everybody in there after practice, cooling off. But I know they used to do that here. A bunch of kiddie pools, and that's what they do over in Mobile. So after practice, trying to cool down, ice baths. I've been in that pool, so used to run first thing in the morning, like at 3:30, and even in the middle of summer, that's hot. All right, that's warm. All right, and that's where the Schultz Weight Loss Project comes in. And so Hudspeth challenged me one time to go running with him at noon, which he picked the hottest day of the year. He called me one day, "You want to go running tomorrow?" Okay. You come, we're doing this in the first thing in the morning. He's like, "No, let's do it at noon." At noon, you haven't run at all. So we ran around the complex. This had to be 18 or 19 after the athletic facilities were done. And we were toast. I was toast. I got in the ice bath. I think it was in there for 30 seconds. It was cold. I did not last very long. Maybe if I would get used to it, but probably feels good. Probably could use some now. But I would be careful if I'm JMU building out a big stadium that, would look, building a 30,000 seat stadium, having 25 to 26,000 compared to building a 40,000 seat stadium that would have 30. I would rather keep it to where I have a 30,000 seat stadium and it's like 95% filled instead of, 75 to 80% filled. That's just me. All right. Based on experience. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Again, nothing doing today. We're still kind of waiting on a couple of things. Again, the reason I went to the one of the things I have in the works is something here locally, but it is only part-time. So I am kind of, I hate to put it this way, wanting a mindless, I'm not bringing it home with me kind of job. Work hard at the job, do good at the job, office data processing or, database, whatever, answering phones, something that keeps me out of trouble. There was a Macy's job opening, but it's not anymore. Something in the afternoons, could do evenings, but hopefully would have those off if necessary for, covering Cajun sports. That's not really the case for football. It's outside of a midweek ball game. So that would be that's why I went to Lita. There were a couple of places, right? City Club had something. So maybe I could get into that and apply online at a couple of different jobs, just looking for something part-time because the thing locally. Now, if the thing outside of town works out, which I'm not sure of right now, to be honest with you, there seems to be a lack of commitment, not to me, but to the process. I would be worried about the lack of commitment to me because in all due respect, that's what happened when I came back here. There was a lack of commitment and the commitment they weren't committed to competing. And they eliminated my show. They eliminated a local show, right? The flagship for the Cajuns does not have any local programming. So if you want me to be committed, then at least you have to give the perception of being committed, but that's what I have to overcome. It has to be in reality. It can't be perception. You can say you're committed, but if you're not doing certain things, then you're not really committed. No. So we'll see how that works out. Should be hearing something here in I thought maybe yesterday, but a day or two. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, we do have Cajun softball wrapping up. And that is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. We do have one coach. I think Butch Jones is coming on Lockdown Sunbelt. And I need to reach out to Barry McKnight to preview the Cajuns in Troy. I need another episode because I'm going to put Barry on Friday is the goal. And I need someone else to come through because there's no time thing for the Butch Jones situation. So I could even play that on Tuesday next week because we'll probably want to recap the Troy Cajun series. So on Monday. So that is not of the utmost importance in terms of timely for the show. But it's not, I don't think I've had Butch Jones on, so I will not talk to him about that. Was that like a 20-play drive against the Cajuns? I did that a couple of years ago. Like that was the perfect drive, like Levi Lewis, right? Probably the original, scared money don't make money. Like they went for it on 4th down. And I mean, they go like 97 yards, and they ended up taking a knee at the end of the game. It was like, I guess it was a 1-point game. And if they kicked a field goal, Arkansas State could still get a touchdown and win it. And instead of giving the ball back, they just kept on running it down their throat. And Levi, which he didn't do much of, ran for a 4th down, and they just took a knee. So they didn't kick a field goal and they didn't punt it back. But now Arkansas State with Jalen Rayner kind of turned things around. And there's a bunch of expectations. Like, I think Arkansas State, depending if Rayner takes that next step, along with the Cajuns, are going to be the ones that challenge Texas State in the Sun Belt. So we've had 5 coaches on so far. Butch Jones would make 6. I think Desmo will come on next week. So that'll be a good one to have. And we need to reach out to their ones. Again, Sean Clark, probably not coming on for a minute, right? You can't do that from App State. So we'll have to give them some time. All right. That is a tragedy that I don't think you ever get over. It's one thing if a player gets injured and he can't play, but it's another thing when one passes away. I mean, it happens, and you just don't get over it. Yeah, it's probably like a kid, like one of your kids passing away. You just don't get over it. So that may or may not happen. I presume that's probably not going to happen. We'll see down the road if it does, but I'm certainly not going to press it. Coach Clark has always been generous with his time. So if it comes up later on, great. If not, we'll hopefully get him at Sun Belt Media Day. That's the way we'll look at that. So hopefully we'll get some others. Still Del McGee, Georgia State, kind of dodging lockdown Sun Belt, I guess. But we can get Clay Helton on, and a bunch of other coaches we can get on. So hopefully we get more than half, and you get 9 out of the 12. Again, we had Jared Parker and Bob Chesney. Still trying to get. I will go after Major Applewhite because he knows me, and I know him. So appreciate everybody watching up to 39. A little bit late this morning. I apologize. I'm not sure if this is the best thing to put on after a shower, but it is what it is. Again, good hair day, good haircut. Went to Stoney the barber, so he does a great job. Is that my plug? does a great job. I like the shortness, and you still got the waviness up top. All right, everybody have a great Wednesday, and we'll be back again on a Thursday with another edition of the Schultzycast.